classic rock and roll. KKID 92.9 FM is KKID Salem Rama.
Take a toke and all my cares go up in smoke. One toke over the line, sweet Jesus, one toke over the line. A bag of weed, oh, everything is better with a bag of weed. You can try and fight, but we're all agreed, because everything is better with a bag of weed.
Welcome to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour on KKID 92.9, where the green wave meets the airwaves. Jump on the bus and see what Waxy and the gang are up to this week. 2 hours of Canna Talk Radio. Listen to Waxy, Steve, and Tim legally rock and legally roll on the Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour.
Man, the Waxy show's gonna be dope.
I am a cannabis man. That's right, everybody. We are still on the air. We appreciate you guys every week, especially you guys in the front. Calm down there. I saw you passing that vape pen. And that's okay. Welcome to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour on KKID 92.9 out of Rolla, Missouri. We're here to talk about cannabis, and we're going to have a good time doing it. I have a special guest at the microphone. I know a lot of folks out there listening know who she is. Some of you know her by Dusty Burgess. Some of you know her as Indica Dabstone, but most of us know her. What's up, Dusty?
Hey, how's all you beautiful people doing?
Welcome back to the program. This is going to be a wild one, man. I've got the Capitol report with Epen coming up in just a little bit. We're going to talk about what's going on up there at the Capitol with there's just lots of progress. And I've got Justin Trowbridge, our hemp guy for the program, calling in to talk. And we're going to talk with Luke Costello of Mock Extracts. Now, that's commercial extracts. Apparently, this guy does some pretty insane stuff. I know Justin's going to catch up with him out at NOCO, Northern Colorado Hemp Expo. We also have Mike Fisher from Overgrow going to be on. That guy's a project manager. Him and his team have put together a little over 3 million square feet of grow collectively. So it's going to be a really, really super good time. And then, so I've also got Leland from Terrapin Care Station is going to be calling in. They're top sponsors at Mo Cannafest, and we're going to talk about what they got going on. He's the patients and activist guy for Terrapin Care Station.
Seems like that company's got a little bit of experience in the game, huh?
Yeah, man, they're vertical. We're going to talk to them a little bit. I know we ran into those guys out at that Bud Tenders Appreciation Party, and that was a blast for me. We had a good time doing that. And, yeah, Dusty, we're going to have a good time. You know who else is going to be in the studio today?
Who?
Bliss
actually?
Hippie. Bliss Hippie, one of the coolest bands doing their thing. You're going to find Bliss Hippie performing live at Mo Cannafest, along with the Schwag and Reverend Pearly Blue and the Temple Soul. We're talking all kinds of cool live music.
Nice.
Yeah, you know, these events, I think it's fun to have like some DJ music going on with some Snoop in the background. That's a lot of fun, and we'll have some of that too. But I think bringing the live music scene and introducing my culture, the Deadhead culture and the hippie culture.
Absolutely. Nothing compares to live music, let me tell you.
They
give all their hearts.
Yeah.
It's the entertainment.
So we're going to have them live in the studio performing some songs. And it's a true story that some of their songs are about cannabis. So it's going to be a good time. Yeah, in fact, most of them. Yeah. Going to be a great time. We got Billy Bob back in the studio handling some AV for us. That's going to be awesome. I want to talk about a story that I found. Okay, and I don't think we've talked about this, Tim and Steve, or any of us so far. But here you go, and this is an interesting one. I don't know if you've heard about this yet or not either.
I love stories, Waxy. Bring it on.
Right on. In St. Louis, a produce stand that sold cannabis. This is in St. Louis. A produce stand that sold cannabis in bulk raised eyebrows and dropped jaws at St. Louis historic Soulard Farmers Market. Now, the Bud Man stand will not be allowed back at the market until further notice. Visitors couldn't believe their eyes on Saturday. There were large bins of. You got your calculator handy, Steve? I'm just kidding. You'll probably be able to do the math.
Okay.
There's large bins of unwrapped cannabis buds for sale. One sign advertised 10 pounds for $5,000. Well, yeah, more and more people started gathering around the stand, taking photos, posting them on social media. And operators of Missouri's licensed medical marijuana dispensaries, like Missouri Wild Alchemy and O'Fallon, worried that the Soulard stand would add to the confusion of an already confusing industry. Now, I'm not so confused. We'll see where they get confused here. The marijuana at Missouri Wild Alchemy contains potent levels of THC enough to cause a high when smoked or ingested. It also is tightly regulated by the state of Missouri with strict labeling and tracking of sales. We're talking about, just regular old dispensary. Well, that's not what's being sold along with produce, flowers, seafood, and firewood at Soulard Market. The Budman's products fall into the legal CBD category, according to officials within the city of St. Louis. CBD is widely sold with no strict state licensing requirements because it does not contain intoxicating levels of THC, though it can provide pain and anxiety relief for users. Don't get it twisted, it's medicine. All right, however, city officials are concerned about another sign at the Budman stand. It advertised Delta 8 THC products. Delta 8 is not intoxicating in small amounts, but can be in larger ones. That sounds subjective, just to be real about it.
Well, hey, come on. The bottom line is here. The dude had buckets full of flour.
And they're not mad about that. They're mad at the Delta 8.
But they're, but it's...
Well, Delta 8 is still legal to sell, right? I mean,
sure. Let's get in. Dive in right here. It says Greg Hayes, Director of Parks and Rec and Forestry, which oversees the market, issued a statement saying, "Our department reviewed this particular vendor's prior request, and we worked directly with legal counsel to ensure the necessary compliance with state law guidelines. We also created a provision regarding the sale of CBD products. The vendors provided the city with a notarized document that all products at this particular stand were tested and within legal parameters. The vendor's request, however, did not include any Delta 8 products. So the Budman stand will not be allowed back at Soulard Market," they said, "until city officials could clear up any confusion over exactly what's being sold. For licensed medical marijuana dispensaries like Missouri Wild Alchemy, it's important that Soulard Market, even a roadside stand, has rules to follow." And here's a quote from Alexandria Hitchcock of Missouri Wild Alchemy. "Certainly seeing it in tubs like that on the side of a highway could seem a little concerning to us who are trying to serve the community with lab-tested quality THC." I'm going to say it like this. Get rid of the Delta 8 products, Budman, and throw the bud back out there in your tubs. Because here's what you did. People stopped, they took pictures. It helped normalize that plant just a little bit. And I'll bet you that the cats that stopped and took the pictures weren't real mad about it. I bet they weren't like, grrr, Mondays and taking pictures of weed. I bet they were like, oh man, I got to show Aunt Ruth what's going on up here in Soulard, So I don't know, maybe
at the farmer's market.
Yeah.
Where it should be able to be sold at, whether it's THC or CBD or Delta 8. I mean,
Well, yeah, and here's Tim and I have a friend in New Mexico. Our buddy up there does a podcast. It was the guys we interviewed up there that have that cool water thing that they have going on. We'll have those guys on the show. But one of the things that they did before they opened their dispensaries, they did the same thing. They took their CBD and they set up at the markets, and they said it caused a ruckus out there too, and they had to stop doing it. But
I'm telling you, somebody who uses CBD a lot for my anxiety,
yeah,
I would love to walk in and be able to go and see some nice, good grown CBD flower offered to me. Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
And I definitely want to see it in giant tubs. That makes me happy.
Yeah, barrels of it. Go ahead, bring it on.
You want to lower my anxiety, put big giant buckets of weed in front of me and watch I don't chill out.
Well, again, it goes back to the battle we're talking about between hemp and the THC market.
Right.
I mean, because of the Farm Bill, that's completely legal.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the guy's not doing anything wrong. It's the presentation in the tubs with all the buds that people didn't like at the end of the day.
And let's be real about it. Delta 8, if it's, I believe that at the farmer's market, you want the most natural occurring products that you can have, right? We don't want somebody buying tomatoes from Walmart and going and set up on the side of the stand there. So I believe that if you're growing good CBD bud and you're legally doing it and it's all clean and tested, that you should be able to set up at a farmer's market. Now, the rest of that, I'm not entirely sure. I'm that guy. I like to open the door just a little bit and then kick it the rest of the way open later. So I think we need to open the door a little bit in the farmers markets before we rush them with all of our products. Because Man, we do have a lot of them, don't we? I mean,
Lots of cannabinoids, lots of flavonoids.
yeah, and in fact, only for the listeners out there who aren't hip to that conversation, there's a lot of different cannabinoids, and only Delta 9 is the one that they made illegal in 1937 and continue to make federally illegal to this day, whereas all the rest of it, open the door, kick it the rest of the way open. In fact, if I'm a dispensary, I kind of want to go set up at the farmer's market, too. I kind of want my own little area. You know, I'll have it in the back. I know you can't have it in giant tubs, but maybe I want to be there, too. You know, I think the more normal we can make this plant, the better it is for everybody else. So farmers markets, we're farmers.
So don't you think, Waxy, that in 5 years that is going to be the new normal for us?
You know what I'm scared of?
What?
I'm scared that we skip farmers markets and go to 7-Eleven.
Oh, geez, I don't want the Walmart. Just
Yeah,
to be real.
no.
No, I mean, for real, I don't want to walk into 7-Eleven and see buckets of CBD. But
Well, but I want to be able to buy it from the guy who grew it.
that's
Yeah,
exactly
You know,
it.
at a
Story,
farmer's
source,
market,
yep.
you know, and then that way he can tell you what he did, how he did it, where, you know,
Shop
blah, blah,
small,
blah, you know, I
too.
mean, sure, absolutely.
Support small farmers.
But we still have to be compliant. That's the
yes,
trick.
Tim, stop yelling at me. We
Well,
have to
I mean,
stay
but we
compliant.
just can't
We
throw
know
stuff
the
out.
rules.
No, it's true. I'm an activist and an advocate, and so are you, Dusty.
I
If we didn't have folks like Tim out there saying, "No, you stay compliant," we'd probably screw that up a little bit.
I love hearing both sides. I really do. When you hear an argument against cannabis, it makes us dig a little deeper to have to discuss it with you. That part's exciting because everybody gets to learn in that moment. So, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody asked me yesterday if we thought that using tests was in our language was a deterrent against small business, meaning that small businesses would have to struggle to go pay for all those tests and all this thing. And I kind of stand on this. I don't want to make you go test your tomatoes out of your tomato garden so that you can give them to your dad or your mom or your 10 neighbors. But if you're going to take those tomatoes and you're going to sell them commercially to thousands of people, well, I sure want to know that you're not using pesticides and bugs and things like that. And I want to know more about it. So when it comes to testing, I love the testing language because the truth is I want clean medicine because smoking pot's fun. I do that too. But
I mean, ideally, the cost of testing is going to go down the more products we have to be able to be tested, right? So if
Sure.
they do open it up, then that pretty much means the testing will go down, and those smaller businesses should be able to afford it as well.
Of course, even a small business has a small business model, a small business plan. Those small business models or small business plans should have things like clean testing included in them.
And wasn't that Lila that brought that up, though, last night at your podcast that you did about how the testing is not compliant? When she was looking for consistency, she's looking for more information about testing.
Yeah. Yeah, they brought it up, and I had a different perspective than them because a lot of people, I kind of like to look at things from different perspectives, right? I like to look at it from the home grow, from your craft farmer to your commercial farmer to whatever it is. Each one of those is a different perspective, and you definitely have to. You can't. One or two sentences in some language and legislation is not enough to cover the many aspects of this plant. So that's what I mean by let's get the door open, then kick it the rest of the way in. Even
It's all in the interpretation, right? I mean,
that's real.
I can interpret those words my way, and you can interpret them your way, and then we can have a discussion about it.
Yeah, and if I'm the government and I don't like the way it's interpreted, I'll just throw down another emergency rule.
But the good part about this is we can always go back to the patient.
Well, that's
If
real.
it's right for the patient, then we can agree on something.
Absolutely.
Patients first, always. You betcha.
Amen.
It might be Epen or JT calling in there. Probably Epen. He might be a little bit late. You got Waxy. Who do I have here?
It's Justin.
Hey, Justin. What's cracking, man? It's the hemp guy.
Yeah, just driving in southern Colorado, dodging tumbleweeds.
Dodging bumblebees. Is that code?
Tumbleweeds.
Oh, tumbleweeds. Is that code for cops?
No.
Oh, okay, good.
Actual tumbleweeds.
Oh, good.
Like
Okay. Like in the Big Lebowski.
Pretty
Yeah.
breezy out there, is it?
It's definitely a fun drive with a large vehicle that's buffered around a whole lot, but you got to get to Noco, man. It's all about getting to Denver today.
Very cool. I know you were going to try and get Luke Costello of Mock Extracts on. What? How's that going?
Yeah, I mean, so Luke's up in Denver. He's on the 4 right now for Noco. Actually just texted me, so hopefully he'll join us in a second. But cat I met down in Costa Rica and talked a lot about extraction and things like that, and the different kinds of equipment out there. So
Very
hopefully
cool.
you can make it not too busy.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I think you're breaking up just a little bit, Justin. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back to you. I'm going to hit you up on my phone. And you got something lined up for us, Steve?
I do.
All right, man. Steve's going to take us to a break. When we get back, we're going to talk to Justin a little bit. We've got Mike Fisher coming up. We've got Dusty Burgess, Indica Dabstone in the house, and we got music from Bliss Hippie. We're going to take a break, pay a few bills. Be right back, y'all. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour, where we've got a couple cool guests on the line. We didn't catch Justin, right? So I think we've got Luke Costello from Mock Technologies. Luke, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Really good. We're going to wing this. Normally, we've got our hemp guy to help us through our hemp conversations, but I think between you and me, we got this, Luke. What do you think?
I've got a ton of faith. There's no doubt in my mind, and I really appreciate you having us on as well. It's an honor.
I'm grateful you guys are out there. You're in Colorado at NOCO?
Absolutely, yeah. We're at the 8th year that NOCO is going on out here in Denver at the Gaylord Rockies Resort. So today is setup day, which is not always the most fun day if you're exhibiting, which we are. Just a little extra work, but yep, we're out here today.
Awesome stuff. That's Justin, right? Right on. What's up, Justin? Good stuff. All right, so Luke, let's Justin, you're still kind of choppy, so we may not have you. But Luke, let's talk about Mock Technologies. What is it that Mock Technologies does? Because the way Justin described it, I got really interested in extracts real fast.
Well, no, I appreciate the question. Mock Technologies, we're an 87-year-old equipment manufacturer. We work across a number of industries, pretty much all over the globe. And what we do at our core is, we're an automation scaling organization. We have in-house engineering and vertically integrated on the manufacturing side. And so what we do, at least for, the hemp and the cannabis world today, is we've designed, commercial scale, off-the-shelf turnkey solutions using a variety of solvent and solventless-based technologies, whether it's, hydrocarbons or ethanol, solvent recovery systems, distillation. We pretty much have designed systems to support the entire, basically the entire hemp world. And what it allows us to do is build out turnkey facilities for new license holders in any state in the U.S. and internationally as well, where you acquire a license and we can come in and build a compliant facility that gives customers an off-the-shelf compliant solution that they know is going to operate the way the manufacturers say it's going to. And if you've operated in this space for any length of time, most of the stuff you have to do in the extraction or processing world is put together kind of piecemeal. You have to buy a lot of pieces, engineer it together yourself, and that can cause a lot of headaches. So at our core, we produce commercial off-the-shelf solutions where new entrepreneurs in the space can get a product that they know is going to produce the concentrates they're looking for.
Very, very cool. So you're working in the hemp and the cannabis space?
Yeah, yep, we support both.
And do you find that because, we're talking about a very similar product, are you finding that a lot of the same tech, a lot of the same processes go hand in hand?
I do. I think because, every state handles their laws and legislation differently, whether they're going to, say, for instance, in Texas, where they don't allow, smokable hemp currently, right? They only allow, production down to edibles and gummies and sorts and different things in vape pens. Whereas, other states are, allow smokable hemp, and then but they don't allow, maybe to process them down into a concentrate. And so, what we're finding more of is as, both of those economies continue to, develop, I'm seeing more and more crossover. Where I don't see a similar type of crossover is, hemp traditionally needs to be done at a fairly large scale. That's, I think, from just kind of the economies of it. Hemp is a little bit higher throughput, and so we don't see, maybe as much, maybe hydrocarbon extraction with hemp just because, it doesn't have some of the capabilities that, say, an ethanol extraction does. So while there is some similarities between the two, there's still some differences just in regards of, to the scale that you have to build out your extraction facility.
So from an 87-year-old company, were you involved in the decision-making to go from an equipment manufacturer and other industries into the cannabis hemp game?
So somebody's the green sheep of the family.
Somebody is, and I can tell you that that's not me. There's three brothers that kind of run the ship there between a number of our main parent company and then the other organizations that kind of support it. So I was brought in more as our head of sales about three and a half years ago to kind of handle the marketing and the sales aspects. So I've been very fortunate to be around since the beginning, but I wasn't a part in that decision. But what I will tell you is that, a lot of the gaps in this industry from an extraction manufacturing standpoint, a lot of the products that were out in the industry 5 or 6 years ago, we felt like there were opportunities for us to produce products that maybe the industry hadn't seen before because there hadn't been someone with the capabilities, or, 3, 4, 5 years ago, it might have been a little, call it more interesting for different companies to get involved in the cannabis and hemp space, just given where it was at on a state level, even on a federal level. I know that hasn't changed too much, but we just felt like our core competencies as an organization, from scaling technologies, developing new technologies, and our customer support arm on an international level, those are three things that we felt we could help the industry with. So the decision, from my understanding, wasn't a terribly tough one. We still are involved in all of our other all of the other kind of worlds that we live in. We haven't exited those. They're very successful arms for us, but Mock Technologies is our cannabis and hemp arm, and every product line that we develop is specifically for this industry. It's nothing that's been re-engineered from another industry and kind of tweaked and put into place here. It's been from the ground up engineered and manufactured specifically for a purpose, and we feel like our customers can see the difference in a lot of the products we put out. But most of all, they're kind of feeling it on the bottom line when they realize when your cost to produce goods goes down, it gives you flexibility when you're putting product on the shelf.
When you're at a spot like NOCO, what kind of customer are you reaching for there? We get NOCO is a phenomenal event, and you get a wide variety of customers or individuals, or really just people seeking knowledge that come to this particular show. What we typically see here, being in Colorado, it's a very established hemp and cannabis market, but especially in the hemp world. And, a lot of the facilities that, or from an extraction standpoint, that are here have been around for a while. And so we see a lot of folks looking for new technologies, which we're excited to always be developing and rolling out, like we did at MJ Biz most years. That's where most companies decide to roll out their new tech in this space. But I think that's really one of the differences here is people look for new technology. They're not necessarily looking for the baseline education in the hemp and cannabis space. They're looking for a deeper education, which is why they put and invest so much energy into bringing speakers and content creators and educational folks from kind of all over the globe here. It gives them an opportunity to learn on a deeper level. So versus if we go to a new state that's just legalizing, and those customers, they're in the infancy stages. They're just trying to understand the different methodologies or how to even get your foot in the door in the industry. So the talks are always more fun here, I feel like. They're not more fun. All conversations in this space can be a good time, but they just get a little deeper out here. Very cool. Well, I'm running out of time myself, Luke. We're gonna have you back on soon, because I know you've got a lot of. I know you guys have got a lot of innovation happening, a lot of R&D. So we're stoked. And next time we'll get Justin on and make sure we have get that hemp qualification there on the show. Awesome stuff, brother. We appreciate you, Luke. Where can folks find more about your company? MACH-technologies.com. It's MACH technologies.com. And then you can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm not too hard to find. So very cool. I'll catch up with you over on LinkedIn real quick here. All right, folks. When we get back, Steve's going to take us to a bit of a little bit of music break for the FM side of things. When we get back, we've got Bliss Hippie live in studio, and we're going to play some Bliss Hippie music. We'll see you guys in just a couple more minutes.
I do.
Welcome back to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour on KKID 92.9, where we're going to take just a moment here and talk about Mo Cannafest before I bring on Bliss Hippie. So Mo Cannafest is a free event to attend, so you can catch all these great acts like Bliss Hippie, The Schwag, Reverend Pearly Blue, and the Temple Soul, which I know if you guys listen to the morning show, you know John from the morning show. It's going to be a good time out there. That's April 2nd at the Regalia Hotel and Conference Center. We've got so many cool vendors and businesses that are showing out. We're also bringing in all the cannabis community is going to come hang out, as well as that Schwag family. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to announce some good friends of mine and good friends of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear a couple songs from Bliss Hippie.
Okay, are you ready? Should we just go, Ma?
We should just
All
go,
right.
Paul.
Back in the woods round a hippie holler lived my grandma and my grandpa in a cabin by the water. Visit all the time like a grandson otter. And my grandpa grows the best marijuana. Grandpa's weed, Grandpa's weed sets me free. Grandpa's weed, oh, filling me with love and joy and peace. The whole world needs Grandpa's weed. It's green and it's gooey and it smells like the pines. It warms my heart and stills my mind. Feeling about as high as the stars above. And I know why, 'cause it's growed with love. Grandpa's weed, Grandpa's weed sets me free. Grandpa's weed, oh, filling me with love and joy and peace. The whole world needs Grandpa's weed. I know the day will come when Grandpa will leave us. He'll be floating on a cloud, getting high with Jesus. I know that he loves me 'cause he left me some seeds. And some things never die like Grandpa's weed. Grandpa's weed, Grandpa's weed sets me free. Grandpa's weed, oh, filling me with love and joy and peace. The whole world needs Grandpa's weed. Yay,
Yeah.
something like that.
Grow it, Grandpa.
Yay. Thank you.
That was awesome. I know you guys are going to do another one for us. What's your next selection going to be? Let's talk about it.
Okay. Well, this next selection, as much as we enjoy the wonderful Grandpa's weed,
Yeah, we do too.
we always need the reminder to be kind.
See, I thought you were going to go in this direction. I've seen you guys live so many times. I know that you're going to talk about cannabis, and then you're going to tell us about how we're going to be good humans somehow or another. That's why I follow you guys. All right, guys, let's bring it back to Bliss Hippie.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead, Ma.
Waken to this moment. Though you might feel broken, see beyond the torment. Love is on our side. Waken to the glowing truth that wisdom's showing. Keep the kindness flowing. Love is on our side. Sharing in the drama only makes things worse. Thoughts, beliefs, opinions filling up the universe. See beyond the judgments, see beyond the clouds, knowing that our oneness is the truth our fear enshrouds. Now when you get reactive and wanna fight for what seems right, remember it's the fighting that's blocking out the light. Just stop one heart from breaking. You won't have lived in vain. Just ease one life the aching, or cool one being's pain. Wake up, relax, lean into seeing our true face, each unique spark of divinity. Now there's our saving grace. So when you're facing stormy weather, know we're all in this together, now and for forever. Love is on our side. We are loved beyond all measure. Love is on our side. We love you guys.
Wow. Yeah, give it up for him in the studio. Bliss Hippie.
Thank you.
I wanted to mention something, by the way, Daniel, about what you said earlier. Is we thought that the $300 for 10 pounds was a great deal. We got a couple of tubs. We were up at
I thought it was
Soulard.
5,000.
It was
Oh,
5,000.
5,000. Oh, we got a really good deal then.
Yeah, you got a really good deal.
Yeah, we're still going through those tubs of CBD, but anyway, I just want to mention it.
Don't believe anything Richard tells you.
I never have unless it's in lyric form. Then I believe it most of the time. Awesome stuff. Well, that's just one of 3 wonderful acts that are going to be at Mo Cannafest, Missouri Cannabis Festival. You guys excited about getting down there?
We really are, yeah.
Yeah,
It's going to be fun.
Is this? Have you guys ever played like a cannabis expo before?
We played one. We played at Cannapalooza this summer.
Oh,
which is-
Cannapalooza. Very
Yeah,
good.
really
Doug,
cool.
Doug's Nugs peoples.
Yes, yeah, and he was really nice to us, and we're really excited about playing. And there's rumors we might have a special guest from one of the other bands playing.
At Mo Canifest?
Yes.
I can qualify that rumor. He's
The
excited.
Reverend's up for
the
it.
Reverend is
Yeah.
going to be sharing the stage with
Right.
you, and then the Swag has him on as well. So
Perfect.
that's
We're
great.
going to
It's-
hear the Reverend a
it's
lot.
gonna be a good
The
time.
Reverend's very good.
yeah, and I don't want to give it away yet because I can't announce it yet. But you'll want to bring your best bud of Grandpa's weed because there's going to be a little bit of a contest we're going to announce
Oh,
soon.
really?
So yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Right.
Well, I don't know if you can win because you're part of the program.
Yeah, you may not be eligible.
And I know how Maureen is with
Yeah.
ethics. You don't want to get yourself in
Yeah.
trouble.
No,
Yeah,
but
you don't wanna-
I'm not encumbered by ethics, so.
Oh, good. Okay. Good call.
So a special guest playing with the Swag has offered $1,000 for the best bud.
Yep, for the best
Okay.
bud.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I think we're thinking about breaking the contest into 3 parts. Maybe $500 winner, $350, and then $150.
he's
at the
tried
end.
that's
Grandpa's
lovely.
weed.
Yeah, except that I think you guys are right. I think that we should not be eligible to be in this contest because
See?
we are
See
playing
what you
music
did, Richard?
for
Yeah.
the festival.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably too good anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
Probably too strong for him.
Whatever. Come on.
Grandpa's weed's too strong. All right, well, I
Give it to
guess
somebody else and split the money with them. I mean, come on.
we're gonna
Good thinking.
we're gonna catch a break, and we're gonna catch a break, Steve. And
You talking to
so.
me?
Yeah. And when we get back, I'm gonna have Mike Fisher from Overgrown. He's gonna call in, and we're gonna talk about his company. And he's out of Michigan. He's a good friend of mine. He set up his company alone has set up over 3 million square foot of canopy grow in the United States so far. A lot of that in Michigan. So when we get back, we're gonna talk to him. I don't know, maybe you got some tunes for the folks.
You
You're
betcha.
listening to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour on KKID 92.9. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Weed Show. You're listening to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour on KKID 92.9, Rolla, Missouri, right here in the Grozarks, out here in the Gromy State. All right, we got our next caller on the line. Mike, oh, we lost him? Oh, right on. I can have him call back.
Yep.
All good.
Don't know what happened.
All good. So I know that you brought out a little piece of paper here, Dusty. Let's talk about what that is, because I know we got a lot happening in Missouri with legalization, and I know a bunch of us are going to go out here. I'm going to go cover it. There's an event happening in the Capitol, March 29th there.
Yeah, the Show Me Can of Freedom rally. A bunch of us are all going to get together and make a crowd, and talk to our representatives and stand up for what we want.
Yeah, the Cannabis Freedom Act is Ron Hicks' bill. Ron Hicks is a legislator out of St. Charles that has teamed up with Ethan Thampy, a friend of mine, friend of the show, to come up with some new language out there to legalize cannabis. So it's one of those efforts, one of many efforts to fight over us stoners and legalize the plant and get that tax money going that I know that the state so desperately needs.
Is this like a pre-party for Mo Cannafest?
No, man.
No, actually,
Well,
I think
Could be, though.
Right?
I think everybody's going to be there.
I was going to say, what people that will be there on the 29th won't be at Mo Cannafest?
You heard
story
Tim
that.
there. You show up at the Capitol March 29th and then begin to walk to the regalia. And we
can
will
do this.
We'll meet you over there for Mo Cannafest.
Hey, I'm calling Blunt's man. He'll walk with me.
You're
Oh,
right.
yeah.
No, you're right.
Totally.
We are setting up a good Missouri walk, so it's going to be a good time with Blunt's man. All right. I think did we lose him again?
for
There we
me
go.
going to this thing on the 29th. A lot of people aren't really even into politics or anything, but they do support cannabis.
And freedom.
Just you standing there and talking to all of us helps bring attention to the fact that more Missourians are in support of legal cannabis.
That's right.
So yeah, I challenge anybody to come out, even if you don't partake, even if you don't care about the politics. Come hang out with a bunch of us cannabis advocates and talk to us.
That's right. It's going to be a good time. All right, we got Mike Fisher on the line. Mike, do I got you there?
Yeah, yep.
All right,
Thanks, sorry,
buddy.
I was going through a bad reception zone and couldn't make the call right away, but I'm pulled over in a good spot.
No, you're good. I smoke too. So we got Mike Fisher with Overgrow on the line. Just kidding, Mike. Hey, I know. So we had a good long discussion earlier about what Overgrow does, but can you kind of take my listeners? We got a whole bunch of them out there today. Can you kind of take them for a walk on what Overgrow does and what you do for cannabis and hemp community?
Yeah. I personally started growing weed when I was 15 years old, and so I have a 25-year background as far as growing goes. Along the way, I've done a lot of different kind of work. One of the kinds of work I did was indoor environmental quality, so dialing in indoor environments, like for labs and hospitals and critical environments. That led me to dialing in grows, and just over time, that has led me to helping people develop their businesses and properties from start to finish. So if somebody says, I have this building, what can I turn it into? Do the floor plans and get it done for them, or try to find the right home, and then also help them with the business, because it's kind of hard to. It can be a little bit difficult to navigate, whether it's somebody coming from the free market, the traditional market, and they need to learn how to jump through the hoops of regulations and whatnot, or it's somebody who maybe has more of like conventional business background and has to realize that it's not just a stack of SOPs, but you have to understand the plant too.
Well, sure, and I know I know you work in multiple states, Michigan being the main state that you operate out of, but you know as well as anybody that in this industry, every state has different rules, different ways that things have to be done, different compliancy measures, different standards. It's kind of wild to navigate all that alone, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I mean, state to state, it's different. Just municipality to municipality. I mean, and if I haven't looked at the ordinance or regulation for a place in like a week, I don't pretend to, I say I need to double check things, because they can just change things on you so quickly.
Yeah, it's very interesting to be in your positioning, because obviously compliance is a massive part of that, and accountability, responsibility, that certainly stacks heavy when you're talking about you've got to build out a business that is 100% compliant and has to deal with one of the most heavily regulated industries in the world.
Yeah, it really is. For a lot of it's something that a lot of people who are doing it aren't used to having to deal with, and then I'd say it's overregulated in a lot of ways. So I know, one of the concerns with compliance here in Michigan, I mean, and everywhere that has, microbial testing in particular, but our regulations, I think, are a little bit too strict. I don't think the standards are necessarily the best when it comes to, keeping companies in business in mind, and also it's not the best design for people's safety. And so people are taking extreme measures, and let's say for an example of that would be, there are microbes that are just everywhere in the environment. They're on our skin, they're beneficial microbes on plants too, just in the air, and so just to say like bacteria bad is not necessarily, I think, the best way to approach things. We can look at mycotoxins and things that are actually harmful, but because of that, I've been doing a lot of environmental control type work here in Michigan, and that's just one type of compliance. It can be something as simple as how wide can an aisleway be,
Right.
or having a check-in sheet and things like that.
Hey, Mike, I got a question for you. Go back to your environmental experience before you got into this industry. I mean, have you seen people growing in clean rooms? I know that's an off-the-wall question, but coming from the lab side of the business, are people growing plants in clean rooms?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've in all different levels from test chamber type situations where somebody wanted to have like the best controlled environment possible, and so they made this basically closet-sized chamber where he's perfectly controlling all gas levels, temperature, humidity, light spectra. He was talking about going around and placing taking measurements from around the world. So like this, Kandahar Valley stuff is growing in the conditions that it's used to, and the Nepalese, and I think it's maybe a little bit overkill, but interesting, and it could be information that comes from that. Next level down, and when I build these out for people, I have kind of two general pathways, and usually cost-effective, easily serviceable, lower cost of entry, and more like what people are used to. But because I do have that experience, keeping labs free of microbes and the air conditioned and steady, stable, in situations where test results can be called into question if it gets 5 degrees warmer in a day. You're doing all these experiments, somebody wants to question it. Oh, I've got 4 degrees warmer on that day, and probably threw everything off. You got to throw out your years of work. So critical situations, if people want that, then I do that, and I'm happy to do that. And it's both ways are good. I tend to push people towards cost-effective and work on it yourself, favorable, serviceable, but we do have good systems for keeping contamination out, keeping the surfaces and the air clean, and keeping the temperature not strain 1 degree at all in the whole place, and things like that. So highly controlled environments.
Very cool. So when we talked earlier on the phone, you had mentioned that you had worked in around about 3 million square foot of canopy of grow. My question is this: obviously, in your time consulting and helping people, you've probably worked with tiny grows all the way to larger grows.
Mm-hmm.
What's that breadth looks like? What's that array look like?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked on this. I just did my smallest one, actually. We're just finishing up construction. It's a father-son team. The son has been a caregiver grower for a while. Grows great weed. He's passionate about it. He's getting good numbers. He's really good at it. Sometimes you have to show people how to grow in a more commercially viable way when they're coming from home. And he's just like, I want to get them started. And so they got, their loans together and stuff. And so it's a 2,700 square foot grow on a property. And then we have plans for expansion as he gets up and running. And if he builds his brand faster than he can supply it, I'll just get other people to white label his stuff, and just trying to get him to get entry, and I love that. That's I love it, helping caregivers get into the market if that's what's right for them, to navigate it, because it can be kind of tough to get the right kind of guidance at a certain point,
Well, yeah, I like that you touched on the marketing and branding of that. But also, I asked you about a small grow. How many square foot did you say that was?
That's just it's 2,700 square feet on 2.5 acres, so it's really small. I mean, 21 lights in flower, but there's room to expand, and we already have that planned out to add on to that building and get more square footage if need be.
Very cool. What's a large grow look like?
I'm doing the drawings for two 30,000 square foot grows right now, and there are larger out there. I mean, a friend of mine that I do some work with and hope to be getting in on just got a 300,000 square foot greenhouse, and I walked a building that a friend of mine ended up doing the construction on a part of it, 600,000 square foot factory that they were starting to kind of parcel off the insides of. There are, I helped a 10-acre farm, an outdoor farm, using natural farming techniques, and I'm really passionate about that. It's not right in every situation, mainly because you have to have the knowledge. It's like, from playing a CD to learning how to play the guitar. I don't know if that's the perfect analogy, but
Sure.
But
sure.
when you get it right, it's better quality product, better for the environment.
A lot of that's a lost art. A lot of that's a lost art. We're out here in the Ozarks where farming is a massive percentage of our economy. So like, I love to hear about that kind of stuff. So very cool, man. So what do you guys got next on the horizon for Overgrow, Mike?
See, right now I'm mainly working on. I've got several construction sites going on in Michigan right now, building out some grow facilities. I'm getting ready to build a processing facility with someone, and just working on drawings for the next ones to come. And then, as time progresses, I want to start going out of state a little bit more again. So I've just been working mostly here in Michigan for the last, mostly for the last couple of years anyway. Gone elsewhere a little bit, but I just want to go out and help people out as states come online.
Yeah, COVID's lifting and the green wave's sweeping across America, so there's definitely a lot to be done out there. Very cool conversation. That's Mike Fisher with Overgrow. Where can folks find Overgrow on the internet there?
My email is fisher@overgrowconsulting.com, and that's the website also, Overgrow Consulting.
Very cool, Mike. All right, we're a little shy on time. We're going to catch you guys on the other side of this break here. Steve, what do you got for us?
How about a little Thin Lizzy?
Perfect. All right,
Lined up. Thanks, Mike.
Yep, you guys listening to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour on KKID 92.9 Raleigh, Salem. Hey everybody, welcome back to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour on KKID 92.9. It's been a great show so far. Lots of good guests. We've had some good music. That was a little Thin Lizzy we were playing there. That was a good time. I already got Bliss Hippie back in. This is gonna be a really cool show at Mo Canna Fest. You guys are gonna play just a little bit after the lunch hour, after everybody kind of gets settled in, and I like to think of it like this, that the festival is going to start with a whole lot of peace and love and cannabis hanging over it because of the energies you guys are going to put on top of it. So we're super excited.
Thank you, Waxy.
All right, well, we're going to take another one. This is are you guys going to play Dog Fur?
We are.
Oh, man, I'll tell you, it's one of my favorites. All right, folks, we got Bliss Hippie in the house. You guys are going to listen to Dog Fur. It's a good one.
I got dog fur in my marijuana. I got dog fur in my weed.
I said that's okay, I smoked it anyway. I got dog fur in my weed.
I got dog fur in my marijuana. I got dog fur in my weed.
Time passed by and by, I got mighty high. I got dog fur in my weed.
I'm feeling fine. No, somewhere in time, dancing bears in my mind. One took over the line.
I got dog fur in my marijuana. I got dog fur in my weed. I looked into the mirror, had a tail and floppy ears. I got dog fur in my weed.
I'm feeling fine. Lost somewhere in time. Dancing bears in my mind. One took over the line. I got dog fur in my marijuana. I got dog fur in my weed.
The moral is pretty clear. Better just stick to beer or anything that Waxy Brown advocates.
When you got dog fur in your weed.
Hey.
Bliss Hippie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maureen and Richard Hall.
Thank you.
I want to tell you, I'm sorry. We didn't know we were going to be on the video today, so neither of us wore makeup. We're kind of worried.
Really?
about- yeah.
I'll be very,
look
very,
good.
I'll be very honest. First off, Maureen, do you wear makeup?
I do on stage, yeah.
No, Maureen, does Richard wear makeup?
I've tried to get him to.
I think
I'll
Not
say
that we're-
no more.
Maybe at home. Yeah, maybe at home in private, but that's a whole nother thing.
Whole different story.
Stay out of that drawer of hers too. Then.
nope. I'll tell you what. With music like that, you don't need makeup. It's pretty enough.
Oh,
it's
thank
really
you,
cool.
Waxy.
You
Thanks
know-
so much for including us.
Well, it's actually, thank you for including me, because that's kind of what I wanted to dive into here. Is when we built this festival out, we built it with culture in mind, and I like that a lot of people follow me and they think Waxy's cool and everything else, and that's really neat, and I dig that. But that's not what I'm about. What I'm about is what built me and the culture around me. And I've seen you guys, and your music has affected me, and I've been around your shows, and the guidance that you guys have given me over the years, and the spirit cleansing that you've given me through your music and words and stories, and the paths that you walk with us. Thank you for including me, because I don't think that we'd have this show without this beautiful radio station that's been playing classic rock for so long. I wouldn't have the way that I dance without the swag. Like, there's just so much of this culture that I can't wait to bring to Mo Cannafest, because that's really what it's about. Is I finally get to introduce this great big cannabis community that I have out here in this industry, and these folks and these advocates and activists and patients. I get to introduce them into what brought me to the plant, which is music and dancing and the dead. And even in your song you just played, it mentioned Dead Bears. That's the culture.
Right.
That's the culture of it, right? So around her, you guys are a gigantic part of that cannabis culture. So thank you so much for including me, and for letting all these folks that I get to introduce to your music out there, for including them, because that's what's going to make Mo Cannafest awesome, is the culture behind it.
Thank you, Waxy, for seeing that in us. That's so beautiful. I'm going to hold that in my heart, my dear friend.
You shine,
Beautiful.
man. You shine.
Thanks.
All good stuff. Well, I got a call coming at 4:20, so do we want to get a good commercial break in and maybe play a song or two for the folks out there? You guys are listening to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour. That was Bliss Hippie. We'll see you at Mo Cannafest.
downtown Salem today. Hey, this is Wilfred, and you're listening to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour on KKID 92.9.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour. That was my buddy Wilfred.
The mate.
The mate, yeah. That's what they call me on the phone. Waxy mate, how's your Friday going, man? It's good, man.
Hey, Waxy, I got a question
Yeah.
for you real quick to interrupt you and
Yep.
all. I heard on that commercial 1 gram.
Uh-huh.
Do you weigh your personal meds when you roll them? I found lately I have been weighing my blunts out into 1 grams when I medicate. I just wonder if anybody else like you might be doing that.
No, I'm certain that my people probably want me to, but no. No, honestly, I don't.
Well, somebody had set a challenge on a 2 gram blunt. They want, I'm like, well, I can roll a 2 gram blunt, but yeah. I was just curious.
I don't know. Maybe I should. All right, we got on the line Leland from Terrapin Care Station. Leland, what's up, buddy? Hey, you got you there?
Yep, got me.
Awesome,
How you
Leland
guys
from
doing?
Terrapin Care Station. Good, brother. You guys are going to be at Mo Cannafest.
I think we are, yeah.
Yeah, top
I'm not exactly sure. I'm kind of new to Terrapin, so I'm just getting used to everything.
Well, that's okay too. I like your title over at Terrapin. What's your title?
I'm activist and patient relations. I'm kind of the person to come to if somebody is, hesitant about using medical marijuana or they're having problems or anything like that. They can call me.
So that's actually a very cool point to bring up too, because we're a brand new medical, well, not so brand new anymore, but lots of brand new patients out there. There needs to be somebody in an organization that's able to reach out and help people understand this plant a lot more.
That's true. I come from Missouri, and it still just blows me away that there's medical marijuana in Missouri. It still is just amazing to me. I moved to Colorado in 1983, and I never thought I never thought it would ever happen anywhere. Let's put it that way. But I'm certainly happy about that, and I think that there's going to be a lot of hesitancy from a lot of people because of all of the stuff that's been said about marijuana over the years.
Right.
If they said it's bad, there's got to be something wrong with it somewhere. But the thing I always try to remember is that cannabis has been with us for 10,000 years. We've been humans have been interacting with cannabis. The only time it's been illegal is the last 100 in the United States.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
Yeah, that's really weird. And yet,
It's almost like the plant
And
had
yet
that
there's-
relationship with us.
yeah, but so I'm just there. I don't think medical marijuana is an absolute cure for everything, but I think there's a lot of things that it can be helpful for people with, and there's a lot of skepticism out there, and I understand that.
I think, Leland, and you might agree with me, and then we'll talk a little bit about Terrapin Care Station too, but you might agree with me here that as we start to research this plant and start to get into it and dive into it a little more, I think things are just starting to smooth out a little better for us, but I can't wait for the time when we can dial in these cannabinoids and send them after the ailments that people are dealing with. Like if I have MS or something like that, I know that cannabis is okay for pain relief and things like that. But when we dive into the endocannabinoid system and different cannabinoids, and we start to be able to formulate and formulate these medicines to help us function better, I think we're starting to get deep into this conversation, and I'm excited about where it's going.
I am too. There and for the same thing as we were just talking about, it's been illegal for 100 years. In America, there's always been something wrong with it, and now we're finally having the conversations with people. We're finally, getting some kind of test results, and we're finding out more about the plant. Look at what we've learned about terpenes and terpenoids. That might even be more important than whether it's sativa or indica in the long run. 100%. And just like you were saying, if we can dial into those, we can probably even do a lot better job.
That's a true story. And it's funny because it's not like terpenes are just a cannabis thing. Terpenes are in so many different things. It blows my mind that actually, let's be real about it, though. Terpenes are really starting to help the conversation a little bit. We talk about THC and we talk about all these cannabinoids, but the terps themselves are starting to become a bigger, better conversation within the dispensaries, within the cultivators. I'm certain that your bud tenders there at Terrapin have got plenty of knowledge, on all that's going on.
Well, yeah, bud tenders talk to everybody. They talk to all kinds of people from every walk of life, and so they're the ones that are finding out about these things. But it's really the research that we're beginning to do on terpenes and terpenoids and kind of finding these things out that we never knew before. We didn't have any idea. When I first heard about the endocannabinoid system, I said, that's got to be wrong. We can't have cannabinoids being produced in our body, but they are.
That's true. When I first heard about that Western medicine wasn't explaining what an endocannabinoid system was, I asked my doctors directly, what do you know about the endocannabinoid system? And they looked at me like they thought it was part of a Chevy.
Hey, so Leland, tell our listeners out there about Terrapin. What brought you to Terrapin in Missouri?
I live in Boulder, Colorado, and Terrapin started there. And at that point, I was a journalist. That was like 7 or 8 years ago, and I wrote a story about the opening of Terrapin because it was the first recreational store to open in the city limits of Boulder. And so I've been going there ever since and getting to know all the people there, and it was kind of natural to do this kind of thing for the company.
Very
and
cool.
We're in 4 states now. We're in Missouri, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and we'll be in New Jersey in a matter of a few months. And so I'm just kind of trying to help out in that regard, and really just trying to get people to understand the good and the bad about marijuana, or the pros and the cons of marijuana, and just trying to help people along so that people can make good decisions about cannabis.
Sure. And that's kind of, you talk about pros and cons. There are some cons to different ways that we use cannabis and all that. So it's good to see the different products coming out in Missouri and folks being able to walk patients down those different paths.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of people who will never smoke, and they'll never use cannabis because they don't want to smoke. And that's okay. That's just somebody's decision. But I'm happy, like you are, that there's a lot of different ways now that we can use cannabis without smoking.
Yeah, I smoke a lot of blunts, and even like the last few days, I found myself, well, Tim will tell you, down an edible road. Like it's just been a week of edibles for me.
Which helps me, gives me a huge break. So
probably right. So Terrapin Care Station, you guys are vertical, correct? And for the listeners out there that aren't real familiar with what that means that they're growing their cannabis, they're making their own extracts, and they have their own dispensaries. Very cool. So, are there any favorite flowers in Missouri that you've discovered? Or you're in Boulder, aren't you?
I'm in Boulder, so I don't know all of the. We just opened a shop in Belton, Missouri, which is down in South Kansas City.
Oh, wow, cool.
I grew up in Kansas City, so I know where that's at. And we also have another store on Prospect Avenue in Kansas City, and I think we have one open in St. Louis, too. But some of our products are distributed around in various dispensaries, and, we're just kind of getting started. Again, I'm just blown away. There's a dispensary run by somebody else within a block of where I grew up. That just blows my mind.
I think through the grapevine, I've heard that Terrapin Sour Diesel might be one of our local favorites.
It's a good one. As a matter of fact, I've got that in my vaporizer right now.
I have that in my left hand right now.
Actually, it's my right hand again.
Hey, so Leland, you're going to have to get us connected to your boys here in Missouri, so we can have them in the studio and get them a part of our culture and help them, kind of get connected here.
Definitely. I really like Terrapin. I like what we stand for, and I really want to see us to get out there and, become a force.
Awesome. I know Terrapin's going to be at Mo Canifest. It's going to be a blast. I just ran into your team out there at a Bud Tenders appreciation party, and man, you could tell the crews that have that love for that patient, and that's what I felt when we ran into your team. We kind of stayed over in that corner for a little while, hung out just because the vibrations were right.
You know that, and that's what it's all about. We have to think about the patient. You know, that's the person that we're selling this marijuana to, and it's got to be for a good reason. And I want people to understand that. I want people to understand everything about it, so they can make a good decision.
Very cool.
Good stuff. All right,
Yeah.
well, Leland, I know I got a lot of folks listening up from the Kansas City area. You guys got a Terrapin Care Station down there in St. Louis. You guys look for their extracts, their different products they got going on.
You bet.
We appreciate you coming on the show. Steve's going to take us to a quick song, and then we're going to be right back at y'all in just a few minutes. You're listening to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour, KKID 92.9.
Thanks, Leland.
can't interrupt him, man. John Lennon.
Paul McCartney.
Was it? I'm not a Beatles dude.
Nice try.
You knew it was a Beatles guy, right?
Welcome back to
Used to
Waxy
be
Brown's
bad.
Flower
Used
Power.
to be good.
You know, on the morning show, we joke around a
Used
lot
to
about
care.
the Beatles, but to me, like I try and irk Beatles fans all the time. And listen, I like them too, okay? But I try and irk them all the time. I'll be like, Beatles, or are you talking about the other Monkeys? Like, who are you talking about there? The Beach Boys? Which one are they? I get confused. NSYNC, Backstreet. I'm gonna get in trouble here. Oh, hold on.
Yeah, come on now.
No, just kidding. Peace, love, and harmony over there. It's all good. But you guys are back.
At least Adam Ant had a Adam in front of it instead of just Ant. You know.
I like Adam Ant. I think I was good too, actually. Awesome stuff. So I want to read a story to
You're
you
showing
guys.
your age.
Well, that's not difficult to do. If you look at the side of my hair over here, it's really gray. So I got indica dab stones in the house. What's up, Dusty?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. I'm gonna read off an article that I found, and I want you and Tim to kind of respond to it, and we'll kind of just we'll just talk, we'll jazz a little bit about it. This just happened, by the way. Top federal drug official blows senators' minds by.
Wait, we can stop there.
Why?
You can just stop with the. What was the first sentence?
Top federal drug official. You don't.
Senator.
Blows the. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Hold
Now
on.
you can continue.
Hold on. Top federal drug official blows senator's mind by revealing marijuana legalization.
That was funny. She caught on to that, though.
I didn't.
I know.
I'm
No
sorry.
doubt.
I'm so sorry.
She about jumped out of her chair.
I'm like, she's mad because I said senator. She does not like politicians today.
I just loved that sentence.
Great. So by revealing.
Must be related to Bill Clinton.
Right. But,
Is there something wrong with that?
all right. I'm reeling it back in.
Okay.
I'm not going to read the first part. I'm going to change it. Top federal drug official changes a senator's mind by revealing marijuana legalization does not increase teen use. A top federal drug official reiterated on Wednesday that adolescent marijuana use has not increased in any states that have moved to legalize cannabis, much to the surprise of a GOP senator who said he expected otherwise based on alcohol-related trends. Now here we go. The NIDA, National Institute on Drug Abuse, Director Nora Volkow addressed the issue at a hearing before the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions, that's the HELP committee. She did raise some, excuse me guys, I'll start that over. She did raise some concerns about potential health risks of marijuana use overall, but made clear that the evidence does not support a common prohibitionist argument that reforming cannabis laws leads to increased underage consumption. Here's a quote for you. Specifically in the United States, legalization by some states of marijuana has not been associated with adolescent marijuana use, she said in response to a question from Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana. That senator, whose home state of Louisiana last year decriminalized cannabis possession but has not legalized commercial sales or medical or non-medical, was taken back. And this is the quote, and this is what I wanted to get to. This is the quote that senator said, and this is what bugs me about the cannabis and alcohol. That's probably my people there. This is what bugs me about the cannabis alcohol conversation, okay? This is the quote. That surprises me because if you relax blue laws for alcohol, there ends up being more alcohol used by adolescents in that given county or parish, Cassidy replied, referring to policies in place in several states where alcohol purchases are restricted or prohibited on certain days. He's saying that does not work. In fact, it increases the alcohol. So it kind of blew their mind a little bit that, and here's kind of my point, is that alcohol and cannabis don't walk the same path. Okay, we talk about adult use. Sure, there's adult use alcohol, 21 and up, right? So they guide us into that 21 and up path, and then they want everything regulated, either like alcohol or tobacco, sometimes firearms. It just depends on what path they're going down. Now, Dusty, you had asked me a question earlier in the day before the show, and it was about who should regulate cannabis, who should regulate hemp. Should it be a Department of Health and Senior Services, or should it be somebody like agriculture? And that's where I kind of go with like that thought process is like, if we really want to a lot of us out there, we believe in regulating this like a tomato. We believe that it should be regular, normalized. It should have never been illegal. It was in every cabinet in our bathrooms when we were at that early stage.
Right. But if it is going to be regulated as a plant on a recreational basis, wouldn't you think that the agricultural should be in charge of it?
I do think they should be.
Okay. Now, on the other hand, as a medical treatment option. Don't you think that Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services should be in charge of that? They also gather statistics like what you had in your article that you read.
The data.
Yeah, the data. Those are some of the people that do pay attention. For example, you can get your medical card at 18 here in Missouri, but the recreational law is only fighting for those over 21. They do need it, but we need proper medical marijuana education at that age. We don't want them to start out doing 40-gram dabs. You know what I'm saying? So,
Shout
to
out
me,
to
there
Dab
does
Bader.
need, but in the same respect, what about on the taxes of the difference? There's a 4% tax on the medical. They're talking about a 12% tax on recreational. Wouldn't it make it easier if two different, regulators regulated those two different taxes and where they go? To me, that just makes sense. I know it was questioned as to splitting it up would become more confusing, but in my simple head, it sounded more easy to keep them.
I think what you're going to find is that compromise in the middle, though, they're going to regulate it like alcohol and tobacco.
Well, on a federal level, that's what they've talked about as well.
Totally. Yeah, I mean,
ATF's going to take it over.
Yeah,
when
now
cannabis hits the federal, that's.
Right. Now, what we do with each state and like all these different initiatives. One's got the agricultural department. One's got DHSS staying with the medical program. The other one's got the alcohol and tobacco. So, I mean, nobody really knows which one's going to do it.
I want two boxes checked off for me. I want one checked off that whoever's in charge of it is going to do the correct thing with the data and continue to research this plant. The other part of it, I want to go to whichever one of those groups has the least amount of law enforcement. Agriculture doesn't have a lot of law enforcement. DHSS, I'm not sure where that's going with the enforcement there. But I know that on the alcohol, tobacco, firearms side, that's a lot of badges and guns. So I don't know if that's really going to be the direction I'm going to go in either.
But there's also a lot of good licensing. What they're doing right now in the craft beer industry and so forth.
Right. Okay.
They've got a lot of the systems set in place.
Right.
Which really I think is where I know that's where people want to push it to because that's the path of least resistance.
Well, isn't that where hemp is residing right now? Is in agricultural?
100%.
Okay. So to me, what's so hard about flipping it over to a full spectrum plant or a full-fledged plant?
I agree with you, Dusty.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
I do too.
I thought you wanted to.
Don't get mad.
Debate.
No, I don't
really
want to
like
argue
debate.
that.
Nobody's arguing with you.
Yeah,
No, we know better. We know better.
Way.
But that's kind of so. Every perspective matters, right? Like if you're a big business person and you're a commercial entity, you certainly have your perspective of who you want to have that regulation and everything else. I spent a lot of time in jail, so my perspective is I want at least amount of enforcement, at least amount of paths to criminality that we can possibly have, while still maintaining research, development, things like that on products and to handle the pains I got in my life. Can't go much further than that with me because that's a whole lot of brain usage for me. So I think the different perspectives bring different kinds of language. Like you were saying, we've talked to folks in other states, and like some of those states gravitate towards agricultural or DHSS, Department of Health and Senior Services, or their law enforcement communities. It just that's the thing is like what happens at the end of the day when the federal government finally says, okay, states can do what they want to do. Here's the regulation that we have. It's simple. It's not going to be a lot. The federal government's going to give us a loose expungement policy and then a tax rate. And it's not going to go much further than that. These states, the fact that we have so many different policies, different entities, it feels very ununited. And the problem that we're going to have is when we go to move about the building, which is what we're going to want to do, we're going to take these brands in New York and we're going to want them to be in San Francisco, or we're going to want this Navajo brand in New Mexico or up to be in California. That's not going to be as possible without us finally settling all these great debates of who should be in charge or what the number should be on the taxes and this, that, and the other. To me, it's getting awful frustrating that we aren't landing these programs simultaneously throughout the country and with some kind of reference above them. Like, it's getting kind of gross, that's how I kind of feel about it. Without safe banking, without proper, rules and regulations and SOPs that make sense in 50 states as opposed to 50 states, 50 markets, that's where I'm at.
Go back to our discussion yesterday with Tyler Morgan, the Missouri Hemp Association. We have the best laws in the country on the hemp side.
Missouri does.
Yep, we sure do.
You know how many people know that? Not very many.
No, I didn't.
Did you know that we were second in production in the United States in fiber production?
I mean, didn't tell he told us.
Right. I mean, it's like, this is crazy. We have so much opportunity to work together as a plant, but instead, here we are inside, all, saying we really like this plant a lot, but we can't even get along inside to who's governing what inside on the plant.
Or who's going to control which
Right.
cannabinoid, or which that's kind of the thing. Is it's kind of a weird thing that in 1937 they made THC illegal, and now it turns out that you just made one of the minor parts of no, it's a major, but one of the many parts of the plant illegal. And we have so much more to show you, but we walk side by side with hemp. When I walk into a dispensary, one of the things that I'm immediately, Tim, you've been with me in a dozen of them. What's the one thing I look for? I look for those 1-to-1s. I look for more cannabinoids in there than just a Delta 9. And I don't want to rant about it for very long, but hemp can provide us so much also in the recreational market. Even hemp-derived Delta 9 is a big thing. HHC is an up-and-comer. Some of you guys jump on Google, check that out. HHC, there's just a lot of good medicine that's got its horizon there, and I don't want to see it get stifled. And that's what all of this muddy, discombobulated dissonance of laws that we seem to have in the United States, that's what that's going to provide for us. More fighting, more unstructured structure that doesn't make sense because somebody's making rules without having any science behind it. That's what we're looking at here.
100%. I mean, again, like everybody knows, we're not regurgitating. Everybody understands the same information. It's time we make differences. It's time we get into doing research and get off the anecdotal data and make this real-time patient data, because I know you've got data every day just like I do.
Yeah.
All we got to do is have the right platform to put it on.
Let me ask you this: in a good
not to pinpoint you there, but
in a good cannabis market, let's say there's a 50-state market, right? And let's say that Missouri has their testing what they need out of their facilities to have clean medicine. Well, where's the reference? Where's the SOPs, the standards above that? Because let's be real, even in testing in cannabis, they're using 50 different machines to come up with 50 different results that are going to hit 50 different shelves. At this point, guys, stop feeding me BS numbers by not providing me the correct standards.
Yeah, the system is set up to fail. I mean, the bottom line, when there's so many differences and so many variances in how these results come out, I mean, it just as simple as sample prep, and let alone not using the same method and the same machines and all the different people that are touching that product as they go and they sample it and then they transport it, and every time that product moves, it changes the integrity of the product.
And you've got a $26 billion industry with THC last year, right? That's what THC pulled in the United States of America. $26 billion pot industry. That's a lot of bread. But they're not protecting their interests if they're not saddling up with hemp, the other side of this. And because let's be real, you'll hear bud tenders say entourage effect, ensemble effect, all these different terms and these ways that they all work together. But we're not doing that as a community. So how are we hyping that? Like if you're in a dispensary and they're saying Delta 9, yay, ensemble effect, well, let's do that as a community. Let's work with hemp. Let's start to really make these processes make sense. Let's not worry about whose bottom dollar is whose, because hemp's been around just a little bit longer in Missouri. Just be real about it. Let's start to share the stage a little bit, because with that comes assets, resources, and then we can start to define these lanes a whole lot better and not have these dull heads who are out there that don't know anything about the science behind this, making up rules, laws, and regulations don't make sense to my community or culture.
Well, there's your politicians.
Right.
I mean, all the above, right?
Which I have to be honest, like even like I've been in the room with these politicians while they're sculpting these legislations with cannabis, been in the room, and even they don't bring the knowledge that we need them to have. That's
they have so many questions. I think they're almost afraid to ask.
Well, and I do love it when they ask. Yeah, I do love it when they ask. But we do with that. Can you imagine? Like, it's fun to go up to the Capitol, and it's great to talk to these people. It's awesome to interact with politicians. But I wish that I had a whole bunch of science in a folder and to go next to my tie and my ink pen in my pocket and look a lot better and have that. But I don't have that. All we have is anecdotal. So we go up and we give our stories. Well, I'm ready for more. I'm ready for research, and I'm ready to saddle up with hemp in a big way, because we're not going to have Delta 9 concrete. We're not going to have Delta 9, boards in our walls and fuel in our tank. Well, that's hemp. That's cannabis as a whole. We need to stop pretending like the exit drug strategy from all this nasty stuff isn't pairing up with our sister plants.
So, yeah, so why would we change the hemp program in the state of Missouri as it currently sits?
Right.
That makes no sense to me. It's one of the best programs in the United States, and yet we want to change it and change the who's going to manage it. I mean, I think the Hemp Association here in Missouri needs a voice.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree with that, and I think
They deserve a voice.
Well, sure, because let's be real. The hemp industry is a whole lot of industry. It's a whole lot of industry. It's not just throwing a Delta anything product on a shelf somewhere. We're talking about
it's almost endless what hemp can be done with hemp for our world, right? I mean, you got clothes. I mean, there's just too many to even list sometimes.
Well, here's the scare. So you're right. So you can look in a lot of our drawers and find hemp clothing, hemp things like that. But did you know that about 90% of that hemp that comes in is imported in from Canada because we don't have that industry here?
You mean when Missouri has? Why isn't that different?
It's frustrating. So so that's what I mean about if we want to be real about it, and I know there's a lot of industry heads out there listening to this radio show, and I appreciate that. But if you want to be real about it and you want to recognize this plant as the real game changer and the real lifesaver that it is, then we've got to recognize that the portion that we're directly involved with in this industry, the cannabis industry, is a shadow of what this plant can actually do. So that's what I talk about research. I talk about testing and all that. Yeah, I'm a stoner, but I'm dead serious about I'm going to get old one day, and I need that plant to be there for my busted up knees and my pinky toe if I got a pinky toe problem. I don't know. But that's where I'm at with it.
I want my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren to drive cars that run off hemp. To be real, I mean, to me, that's a viable, regrowable resource. If we can get our cars to run off of it, I think that should be a future goal.
And we want to wean you off the caffeine and get you on those hemp coffees.
Dude, I think it might have been the dab you had me do a little bit earlier. I love your green room.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was kind of tough to get you out of there.
I like it there.
Awesome stuff. Well, it's been a great show. I know we hyped on Mo Canifest a lot. I'm going to do that again real quick before we get off here. I know some friends of yours are going to be out there. I know you're going to be out there, Dusty. The Dab Stars.
I will absolutely be there.
Yep, it's going to be fun. I'm going to make sure my booth is right next to the Dab Stars because that's where the fun's going to be. But April 2nd at the Regalia, that's free to attend. That's not a 21-up event. You guys it's kid-friendly. Lots of video games, lots of good stuff. But what you're really going to find there is a lot of information, education, live music, and a whole lot of cannabis culture. You guys, it's been a great show. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Dusty.
Thanks for having
Big shout
me,
out
man.
to Bliss Hippie. Thanks for all our guests today. Justin Trowbridge, be safe on the road. You guys are listening to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour on
We'll be
KKID.
back and do it all again tomorrow morning, Thursday, for the morning show.
That's right, we will be.
Well, hey, we had today off.
That's
now,
right,
you
baby.
know.
Make sure you guys are tuning in all the time
There you
because
go.
K-Kid rocks.
Because really, this station never stops talking about weed, does it?
No, not really.
No,
Okay.
we
24 hours a day.
420 days a year.
See, that's what I like about you, Wheeler. You're all in, brother.
Stay waxy out there, everybody.